How's everybody doing? Matt, I see you. Let me bring you on. Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good.
Good, man. Thanks for joining us today.
Super excited. Happy to do it. I had a lot of fun when I came into the mastermind, and so ever since then, I've really enjoyed your audience. So
yeah, the mastermind looked fun. I was sorry to miss it.
Yeah.
So for everybody that's here, that's new, man, what's going on with my stuff today? There we go. Matt Stafford's here from Build, Grow, Scale. That's he's going to teach us how to do conversion rate optimization. He's going to teach us some conversion tips and tricks so you can increase the conversion rate on your store. It's pretty cool. It's a little bit of an overlooked area, in my opinion. Many people don't pay enough attention to conversion rate optimization. And it's one of those things where like a few little tweaks can really bring a lot of profitability to your store and keep you alive if you are running ads at break even or something like that. So I'm really excited to get into it.
Yeah, so I started off, I was really good at ads, but that was back in the Wild West when you could get away with quite a bit of stuff. And as they got harder and harder, I was super frustrated. And everybody was constantly teaching, how to run Facebook ads because, you need traffic. But what I realized was traffic's not really your problem. If you're sending 100 people to your store and you're making 2 or 3 sales, you have 97 other people that clicked the ad and came to your store. Why didn't they buy, or why didn't they have a good experience? So rather than buy another 100 visitors, why not just get 2 or 3 more of those people of the 97 that left and double your sales?
Yeah, 100%. I was messing around with some math and some of the promotions for this Coffee with Michael. And, I was like, man, if you can take your conversion rate from 2 to 4%, which is totally doable on a Shopify store, you literally double your revenue without increasing ad spend.
Yeah, you actually do more than double your revenue. Well, one of the first slides that you and I are going to share, we put little tweaks equal big wins. I'll save it for the slide, but yeah, for sure, doubling your conversion does way more than double your net revenue.
Well, I'm excited to get into it. Plus, if you can double your conversion and then you double the number of double the traffic, you like 4x the business, which is crazy.
The thing is, if you can convert more people from your traffic, then whoever can spend the most to acquire a customer wins. So if you're converting 4 or 5 per 100 and your competitors are converting 2 or 3, now you have a bigger budget to go kind of incrementally bid higher. And when you do that, you have a whole nother audience that your other competitors aren't even seeing.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm excited to get into it. So we got kind of my normal intro here. We usually go through. Everybody in the crowd here is pretty familiar with that. We'll get through that in, 5 minutes, and then we'll have your stuff right up. Do me a favor, everybody out there. If you appreciate Matt coming on, sharing some free tips and tricks here, please like the post. I can promise you there are people that pay really good money to get inside Matt's head and have him help optimize their store and things like that. And he's here. He's going to be sharing with us for free this morning. So please like the post, drop some love in the comments below for Matt. Let him know how much we appreciate him coming on today. And you guys ready? The way we kick things off around here, Matt, is with a toast. You have a beverage in hand?
I do. I have a Monster energy drink.
We believe in the toast. We think the toast makes the world better. We're not kidding there. We think it brings world peace. It lowers CPMs, right? It makes Zuckerberg wake up on the right side of the bed so he stops banning people. It's magical. Every week, people report that they get tingles after the toast. Okay. So I'm building it up. You should be looking forward to this.
I'll double fist
Let's do it. Double fist it. Raise up your glasses, mugs, bottles, and flasks. Join me now for the Digital Marketer's Toast. Here's to more conversions, more cash, cheap CPMs, and lower CACs, higher CTRs, much higher CVRs to enable ad accounts and big bank accounts, upsells, downsells, and cross-sells, to winning products and repeat sales, and to the thing that everybody knows, the riches are in the niches, but also your email flows. You ready? Cheers, everybody. There we go. That's how you kick this thing off right. You're feeling it now. I see the smiles. You got some dopamine flowing. How's everybody doing? All right. Yeah. People love the toast. They literally should. When we don't do the toast, like if I cancel Coffee with Michael, I get like just people are emailing me saying things, their life's going wrong. They're getting bad news at work, all that kind of stuff. So it keeps the world moving. All right. Last week recap. See who's getting swag. Montez, first sale today. It's for the open work watch, priced at $139, $81 in profit with no ads. Congratulations, Montaz. That's amazing. Love the first sale post. It's the first dollar you make online is it's truly life changing. It's unreal. So congratulations. Someone on my team will reach out. You got some swag coming your way. Next up, we have Deborah. After a 6-week break from running ads, I set up a new Shopify store with a legitimate LLC. Started ads again past weekend, and boom, 2 sales right out of the gate. I'm so back. I'm so excited to be back to find my winner. None of this would be possible without the huge training, support, and coaching from the whole ShineOn team. Honorable mentions to Asjad Khan. I hope I said your name right, buddy. For the awesome Shopify store, and Ronnie McKenzie for his bottle rocket testing method. So thank you so much, Deborah, for sharing. Congratulations on the 2 sales. Keep up the momentum. Q3 is when you prepare for Q4, which is like the e-com Super Bowl. So you are in the business at the right time. Go ahead, Matt.
I was just going to say, if once you've been doing this for a while, you'll realize that August, September, and the first week or 2 in October are very frustrating. You always feel like, oh my God, this run is over. What's going on? And then it hits, and you're like, oh my goodness. So yeah, just this next 6-8 weeks is it's going to be super roller coaster ride, but then it gets fun.
Dude, Q4 is my favorite time of the year. It like
happens
saved
every
the
year.
holidays for me.
Yeah.
I used to hate the holidays, but once I got into e-commerce, it's just like, I love Christmas music starts playing. I get all excited.
Yeah. You literally November, December, and January, you can make 80% of your income for the entire year in those 3 months.
It's absolutely unreal. By the way, what you said really aligns with our data too. We see sales really start to pick up about that second week of October, and it's just, it's up and to the right all the way till our shipping cut off at ShineOn.
Yeah, and the ads get really wonky because Facebook's like adjusting their algorithms for that big push, and so like all I can say is just push through, like stay with it. Like those few weeks you feel like giving up and like, oh, it's just not going to work for me, and then the people that stick it out, they're the ones that win.
You break through a wall. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so I think this is our last one. This is Ishmael. Ishmael posted some new. We got some new mock-ups in the rendering system. So we have some new studio style mock-ups, and then we also have some UGC style mock-ups. By the way, check out our UGC style mock-ups in the rendering system. Like, make sure you guys are scrolling down when you publish new products. There's some really good ones in there, and we actually have a seller right now that's crushing it with some of those UGC style mockups, and they look so legit. In fact, when I saw their product page and I looked at the mockup, I had to kind of do a double take because I couldn't remember if it was ours or if they went out and took one of theirs. I mean, that's how good the mockups are. So go check those out. All right. If you want some free swag, every week we post 2 to 5. We'll grab 2 to 5 posts from the group. We're looking for people to share testimonials, tips, tricks, value posts, all that kind of stuff. If you get featured here, you'll get some free swag. So do it. All right. You ready to get into the content? I skipped a bunch of the announcements today, so we could get straight to your stuff.
Oh yeah. No, I'm in no rush. Like, I'm here for the long haul, whatever you need. Just don't worry about me.
No, you have such a wealth of knowledge. Plus, all your slides, man, I could see that we were going to go pretty deep. So I wanted to make sure we had some time. Let's, our audience may not be completely familiar with you.
Sure.
You're a conversion rate optimization expert. I know you're a Shopify optimization expert. You help run build, grow, scale. Can you kind of give an intro to the audience so they can get to know you a little bit?
So I'll just give you a little bit of backstory real quick. I actually ran a commercial concrete business for 23 years. And I went to a Tony Robbins event and bought a DVD that was called Money Masters. And the very first session was Frank Kern talking about selling an ebook on training your parrot how to talk. And I was like, oh, wow, you can actually use the internet to make money. Because back then, all I used it for was email and to share blueprints and stuff like that for the concrete business. And so anyways, I started, I had bought a salon and needed to learn how to run traffic in order to create sales.
I love this, man. You started in the local service space.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then from there, I ended up buying 2 more salons and learned SEO and a few things like that. And then when Teespring came out back in the day, we started selling custom designed t-shirts and running Facebook ads to that. And so right off the bat, I was of the theory that like working together makes way more sense than just trying to do it all myself and not share. And so we created a group of 5 of us marketers, and we shared everything that we were doing. And within 60 days, all 5 of those people had left their jobs and were full-time online because of how much money we were selling. About 50,000 shirts a month. And
that's insane. What time frame are we talking about? Is this 2016-ish, 15?
2013, 14, I think it was. 13, 14,
even
15.
earlier.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So it was when you could, we used to, I actually was the one that got names banned on Facebook because we figured out how to grab user IDs and then target people by their name. And my first really, really popular shirt was Schmidt Happens. And it was SCHMITT. And then we had ones that were like, I'm a little Schmidt. There's a whole bunch of different words. And then we started targeting people and created some massive campaigns doing that. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah. And then so from there, I went and built a software platform for 4 years up in Vancouver, Canada, doing that exact same thing. We built a platform where you could put your shirts and different goods on and sell it. We sold that to a licensing company. And then I jumped into Shopify. And that's really where my journey with BGS started. We opened a kitchen store and started teaching on that. And then as we were teaching what we were doing, rather than the people selling ads courses, they're like, oh, wow, this actually makes my ads work better. Oh, this makes Facebook less frustrating. Oh, wow, now these are more profitable. I can scale much better. And honestly, our best referral partners are platforms like you guys, that if we make the stores or the conversions higher, you guys sell more. If we help an ad company, when an ad company refers us to one of their clients, we go on that site, optimize it. Now all of a sudden they can scale ads. And so really people that are looking to grow and be more profitable, that's really what conversion rate optimization does for you.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. I didn't know that you started kind of in the local services space. And isn't there some history here with baseball?
No.
I wonder what I'm thinking of then. So a couple of years ago, I had tickets to come to one of your events in Vegas.
Okay. Yeah, BGS
and I couldn't go. I had some family stuff going on, but I tried to stream as much of as I could online or get the recordings. I can't remember exactly how you were doing it. It was probably 2019, maybe.
Yeah, 2019 or 2018. Yeah, 2019 was the last one before COVID. So.
Okay, yeah, it had to have been that one.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I remember I learned a lot from it, and it helped me with some future scales that I did. But I swear there was something in there about baseball, but I don't know. Maybe I'm misplacing
the same name as the LA Rams quarterback, and then he used to play for the Lions, which I'm from Michigan, grew up in, born and raised there. So having the same name as the professional sports team's quarterback has always been kind of funny.
Yeah, well, maybe that's it. Who knows? So, okay, well, thanks for the intro on that. So, like, here's something that also strikes me as interesting is when it comes to conversion rate optimization, it in my mind, it feels like there are a bunch of freelancers out there, and then there are the build, grow, scale guys. Like, I I don't know that there's anybody else out there that really focuses on kind of the Shopify e-commerce space. Well, I'm sure there are a lot, but I don't know any other like big companies that have really made a name for themselves in the space. And that's something that's always struck me about Build, Grow, Scale in particular, is it just seems like you guys have really dialed in and claimed this kind of as your own.
Yeah, that's all we do. So I'm friends with other people in your group, and obviously Eric and I have been really good friends for a long time. But Mario and Kirst and those guys in there, they're awesome at ads, and they have strategies that work. And Ronnie and Mackenzie, they have come up with these things to help that part of the algorithm. I'll be super honest. For the last 6, 7 years, I haven't done ads. If I logged into the Facebook ads manager now, it'd be super difficult for me to even function in there where I used to run. I mean, I've been to Facebook's headquarters like 3, 4 times. I was invited there because I've spent millions of dollars on ads back when I was doing it. Now I would be the last person in the world to learn from. So we really did say, hey, instead of being a guru and we know everything, what we basically said is the only thing that we're going to focus on is when someone lands on your website until they give you money. We're not worried about the media. We're not worried about the content. We don't teach any of that stuff. We teach from when they land on your website till they give you money. So definitely like triggered flows for your email. I mean, I know you should retarget, but like we really 100% only focus on the website.
No, I mean, that's awesome. You got to have a niche, and you not being an ads manager for a number of years. I mean, you might consider that a mercy because Facebook went off the rails in 2020. I think they're a little bit more sane these days, but in 2020, man, it was like the adpocalypse out there.
Well, I think they realized it too when their shares dropped like over 50%. People are like, all right, fine. If this is the flag that you're planting, we don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah, to some extent, I'm sure TikTok's explosive growth is due to Facebook essentially purging their small business marketers.
Yeah. It's a shame because we really do work hard to make a good living, and it is what it is.
Well, I think they've started to course correct anyway for that because they've got some competition in town. So anyway, all right, let's get into it. So we basically took all the content you gave us. I don't know if you've seen this deck yet or not, but we took all the content you gave us and we put it it's in the exact same order right here. So why don't you just kind of take it away, and then at the end, we'll have a spot where we can kind of we can talk about Build, Grow, Scale some more, and if people want to get in touch or something like that, we'll spend a few minutes on the end. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Let's go ahead, man. Take it away.
This is kind of what I was talking about with you. The simple tweaks equal the big wins, and how this translates into your net profit. So I kind of am a nerd and love looking at numbers and data and trying to find the wins in it. And so if you take this is a very realistic example of things that you can do. So if you only have 8,000 visitors coming to your site per month, to increase it 10% is only 800 more. That's, run a couple more ads, or work on better calls to action so that you get a little higher click-through rate. If you have a 5% conversion, to add 10% to that is not astronomical. It's 0.5.
Yeah, it's totally doable.
Yeah, and I'll show you an example, a couple different ones in the next couple slides where we get 30, 40, 50% increases in different areas of the store by clarifying the message. Many times it's actually by removing stuff, not by adding it. What happens a lot of times is people think when they're handling their own customer support that now they got to answer every single question on their website, and what they're doing is they're actually creating all kinds of, it's called cognitive load. And it actually tires people out to go through their website because it's cluttered, it's busy. And so removing stuff.
I've been to websites like that.
Yeah,
And it's
and
like super busy, and it's like vomit on a page.
you're basically forcing every visitor to go through tons and tons of stuff to find what they need just because a couple people had a problem. And you can't really serve those couple people. You need to make sure that it's crystal clear. We always say Homer Simpson it. So if Homer Simpson can understand it, then you're good. If it's confusing beyond that, and if you do customer service, you'll understand why we say that too, because you tend to deal with the people that are like, oh, I can't get it to work. And it's like, you got to click the add to cart button or whatever. It's super simple stuff.
It's the where's the any key people.
Yeah. So if you go through it, we'll just go through this top example here. Say you have 8,000 visitors, 5% conversion rate. That means you're going to make 400 sales a month. If your average order value is $50, that's $20,000. So we know typical your cost of goods about half of what your cost is. When we say break even, we mean like that could be your rent, your VA, your the different apps and stuff like that you have to pay Shopify, the merchant fees, et cetera, 5,000. So out of that 20 grand, you make about $5,000. Very reasonable. This isn't hard to get to mentally. Now, if we go through and we do some optimizations to your store, like I said, 10% increase in the number of visitors. Another way that you could get a 10% increase in visitors is to work on your bounce rate. Most people that are new at Shopify have added and deleted and done a whole bunch of stuff with apps, and they don't understand, just like I didn't when I started, the issue of caching. On my computer, my site loaded really fast, and there was no issue with it because it was cached on my computer. But when someone else came and loaded my site, it was 12 seconds, and they didn't even know that because all the apps and different things that I had done and added to it. So even removing those apps can actually be detrimental if you don't pull the code out. So
you're saying improve the bounce rate by essentially making the site faster.
Yeah.
And the way you do that is removing the apps and some of the old code snippets and things like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you think about it, we do a little demonstration where if it's not unheard of to see a store with 90% bounce rate. So if you spend, we'll just say you spend $1,000 to get 1,000 visitors there, 90 of them are bouncing without seeing your site. So you're really spending $1,000 for 100 visitors. So you think you're spending $1 per visitor, but you're really spending $10 per visitor. And then you wonder why you're not profitable. If you reduced your bounce rate to 80%, which is just reduce it by 10%, now all of a sudden double the number of people are seeing your site. You went from $10 visitor to $5 visitor. How much easier would that be to make your store profitable?
Yeah, that makes sense, man. It's
So
the same, dude. All of your conversion rate math, it's all black magic to me.
Yeah.
Like it's
that one thing cuts your traffic costs in half.
Yeah, these just marginal improvements make such a huge difference when you're looking at the whole funnel.
So then a 10% increase, that now you have 8,800 visitors at 5.5% conversion. It's 484 sales. A 10% increase to your AOV, which is only $5. That's very simple to do with upsells. We have an app. It's called the AOV Booster app. We do priority processing. We have stores that do as many as 1,200 orders with priority processing a day. It's $4.99, $5.99. They're doing $5 or $6 grand a day in selling priority processing. So
what kind of take rates do you see on that?
About 30%, 30.
Yeah, that's what I've seen too.
So people want to get their stuff sooner. And if you give them that as an option, it's a very good way to increase your average order value.
We always called it rush processing.
Same thing. You want them to feel important and special and that they're going to get it quicker. And when they do that, they'll take it. So if you look here, that's only a $6,000, $6,600 increase in your gross sales, right? But if you look over here, even using the same metrics where you cut that gross sales by 50%, your break even didn't go up. Your fixed expenses are still the same. So now your net profit is $8,300. You increased your profit by 66% by having these 3 small incremental increases in different areas that were main metrics. So
yeah, that's
the sales
amazing,
pitch
man.
on why you need to. People think like, oh, that 10% increase. Okay, now I'll make an extra $50 or $500. No, like you can literally, it compounds into net profit.
Yeah, and you said it here, but I'm just going to say it again. What's interesting to me is none of this costs money. You just have to have the right knowledge, right? If you know what to do, you can easily get these increases that you desire. So it's
I mean, the app that we use, we give it away for free on our challenge that we do. Like, so we give it away because for us, the reason why we've developed ads that help with conversion is because inside of our membership, we want the apps that we give away to create enough revenue that they'll stay. So our whole intention behind building apps is just so that they make more money.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just really cool that literally the difference between this and this is it just comes down to what you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna answer Sydney's question real quick. Yes, it is a good idea to have the developer go through and delete the snippets, because if you just delete the app, that doesn't pull the code out of the theme. And so what happens is when you delete that app, you actually break that code that's in the theme, and it will sit there and make a call back to a server, and it can't complete it. And so it times out, and that's what slows your store down. One good thing that Shopify has done is in the 2.0 themes, the apps are now in this block. It's like in a block. So when they delete the app, it pulls the code too, rather than injecting it into the store. So that is going away. But if you're not on a 2.0 theme, then yes, absolutely. What you should do is get a list of the apps that you've deleted, as many as you can remember, and just give them to a developer. Probably costs you $50, $60, $70, and it will literally just take it away.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you why Shopify allowed that, but it sounds like they're gonna remove it anyway. So I think we're good.
Yeah, they're growing just like all of us do. We all learn, so it's part of the process.
All right, you ready for the next one?
I sure am.
Cool, let's do it.
All right, yeah. So this is an example of one of those small tweaks that ended up, giving the guy the ability to scale. So literally, this was just cart changes. So nothing on the store. They had amazing add to carts. They had issues with their cart, and so when we fixed that, you can see they had hovered around that $1,500 to $2,000 a day mark for a good 2 months. And then once they realized, we were like, hey, your add to carts are really good, but you have a huge abandoned cart. Let's fix that in the checkout. And by doing those things, they were able to scale right away. You can actually see they scaled so fast that then they had to turn it back off, because you'll see a couple big drops due to they literally then when they were worrying about supply chain. So
this was literally just like one tweak then.
Yeah, they actually came. You can see right the day that it happened. We did a 2-day workshop in San Diego, and they came to that, and we made some changes for them. And after that, that was it. So a lot of times, the funny thing is, you're doing a lot right. It's just there's little things in the process that are broken.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty cool. What's this one?
Oh, this is just showing you that obviously, like, they only have a 3% increase in traffic, but because of the increase in conversion, they have a 78% increase in revenue, and the average order value went up. Most of the time, people feel like if you scale, automatically a bunch of your numbers have to go down, and that's not true. Once you go through your store and optimize the different processes, you will literally be able to scale systematically and still remain very profitable.
Yeah, and an 8% conversion rate is pretty legit.
Yeah, on a $50 average order value. For
Yeah.
sure, obviously that was, you can see that that was a 72% boost. So in order to get that, many times, like I said, it's small tweaks. It's not this major overhaul.
Yeah, I mean the numbers are great though. I mean, you had roughly 1 out of 5 people adding to cart, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah. That's when you know you have a good message to market match for sure.
All right, so checkout examples, good and bad, hierarchy of focus.
Yeah, so hierarchy of focus is basically a principle. The stuff that I'm going to share with you, like none of this is like tactics or hacks. These are literally the way that people go through a website, and so it's very consistent. Now, the hierarchy of focus means you want the next most important action on the page to stand out, and so you should look at your data and see if what payment processor they're using, and then that should be the one you should focus on. So having all 3 payment buttons like this is actually distracting, because what you want them to give you at this point is the email, because then if they abandon for any reason, you can retarget them, bring them back to the site. We always test having the PayPal button here or only on the checkout page where they pay, because if you can move it to the checkout page and not have it here, if you see right there, it says PayPal is available on the payment page. These people are using some of the optimizations that we've taught, but not all of them. Like there's no reason to tell people that if you have the PayPal button on this page. So
Yeah.
it's a poor application of the process. So we'll just leave this as that's bad, because it's not hierarchy of focus. So definitely test whether you want the PayPal button here or on the checkout page.
This here is I'm pretty sure is from you guys, right?
Yeah, yep, for sure.
Putting the contact info and stuff up here.
Yeah, most of the time people only have their logo, and that doesn't. It's actually you have all that space that you can use. We call it an area where you can build trust and also provide information that they need to know. So by saying questions, email us, or having a phone number or whatever, you're actually saying, hey, if you have an issue, we can take care of it. Just get a hold of us. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're going to get tons of emails, tons of phones, etc. It's just for them. Now they know, okay, these guys aren't, it doesn't feel blank, and I'm not going to be able to get a hold of them if I buy from them.
Yeah, yep, totally makes sense. So I just want to make sure I understand the hierarchy of focus. What you're really saying is the next most important action on this page is to collect email. So throwing all this big, bright, colorful stuff like buttons up here at the top, it's distracting from the next step you want the user to take. Essentially, back to that, loading down the customer with mental load. Essentially, when they land here, they're going to have to kind of process all of this before they take the next action on the page. Is that roughly what you're saying?
Yeah. If you look at your data, only about 30% of people on average are checking out with PayPal. So 70% of your users aren't using it. And if you look at Shop Pay and Google Pay, most of those are barely used. Just because you don't have the button on there and someone was going to use Google Pay doesn't mean that now they won't use Shop Pay or Apple Pay or
whatever. Because they'll just use it in the next step.
Right. Or they'll just apply their credit card. So definitely not having 3 of them. But like I said, obviously some of the stores that we work on, we have a PayPal button here too, because it hasn't hurt conversions. But you definitely don't want all 3. Like it's distracting, and you'll see that the page doesn't perform as well.
Okay. Got it. Makes sense. All right. Form fields.
Yes, this is actually bigger than what people realize. So this is an example right here of a good way to use the logo. They're using all of that space. It's very easy to read on mobile or desktop. Inside the form fields, under the email field, it says required for order confirmation. And what I want you to realize is people don't mind giving you information if they know the reason behind it. And so what we track form field errors because we work with a bunch of Shopify Plus sites. And so we know we've tested tons and tons of different language inside of these form fields. And this particular one is one every single time. And it goes back to the theory that people don't mind giving you the information if they know why you're asking for it. So the email, we know that the number one most opened email is your order confirmation. And so by saying, we need your email for your order confirmation, they give you their best email. It reduced our form field errors by like 30% And then go ahead.
I remember after the BGS 2019 event, because you were teaching this then.
Yeah.
I actually implemented some of these tricks, and I did see an increase in what I think I mainly saw an increase in was the number of people that submitted their phone number. If I remember, I don't remember how big the increase was, but I remember that was right around the time the SMS abandoned cart stuff was just taking off.
Yeah.
And I remember I had an SMS bump, I think it was.
Yeah.
And the return on investment for those SMS abandoned cart campaigns are insane. So I had like a 40,000% ROI on it.
Number one recovery source of revenue for sure. SMS is super important. If you're not doing it, you should definitely get on it right away.
But just adding the text as to like why we needed their phone number made a huge difference.
Yeah, and we even tested one time because we don't ever call them. We tested different language trying to get it to go up. We even tried we will never call you, and that literally tanked conversions bad, like really bad. We knew after 2 days like it was a bomb. And went back to this. We've never been able to be required for shipping notifications. People want to know when the item ships. And so both of these, if you think about them psychologically, the reason why they work is it's the two triggers they want to know. One, for their order confirmation, they're going to check it. And then they want to know when their thing is on their way. So the text that's in here, you'll see on average, probably, 0.5 to 1% increase by getting this part of your process correct. Like if you have a 10% add to cart, you should have a 5% proceed to checkout, a 2.5% conversion rate. It's a good healthy store is about a 50% drop at each section. If you're above that, then you know that there's definitely optimizations that you can do to get you to that level. And then once you're in that range, at that point, you're going to do as much as you can on your product page or to get people to land on the correct product so that the add to carts are higher. It's just basically reverse engineering your numbers once you know the data.
Are those the benchmarks you use internally when you start optimizing?
Yeah, we want 50% or less drop off from the add to carts, and then 50% or less drop off in the proceed to checkout.
And so, if anybody watching wants to go add this text, you can find this in I think it's the languages section.
The language settings. Yep, you click on the languages. Settings. Yep, and then you can go in and add the form field text to it. Yep.
Yeah. So, last thing before we move on to the next page, I also seem to remember, I think this was from you guys, that like if you add an icon here, that kind of symbolizes what the next step is. So so the next step here would be shipping, you might put like a little delivery truck or an envelope with flames coming out of it or something.
100%. The arrow actually works the best. We've tried all kinds of different things. The reason why is like people don't want to click on something they don't know where it goes. And so like the buy now doesn't work as well as add to cart, and buy now doesn't work as well as proceed to checkout or continue to shipping. So by being very specific about what the next step that it's going to take them to actually increases the clicks on it. And then obviously it's psychological, but that arrow showing them that they're going to move forward to the next step, the shipping settings, they're still not entering their credit card information. It's a micro commitment where if you're using buy now, like on your product page, which a lot of people do, or even on their home pages, if you think about it, it's like walking up to the girl in the bar and asking her for a kiss. She doesn't even know your name. Like, you're asking for way more than what's necessary at the time. And so the smaller the ask that you make, the farther you'll get them in the process. And then the farther you get them in, that stuff is a lot more warm traffic. And like, if you're retargeting each of those sections, you're going to see how much more value there is.
So you're saying, I just want to make sure I'm clear. So you're saying instead of using the little, like icon of the shipping truck, you found what's actually working better is you just make it clear in the language what the next step is. And then you just have the little arrow or something like that shows progress or momentum or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that roughly it? Yeah. Very cool. I've seen, I think it's the landing page guys. They just do landing pages. They use the right point emoji on all these buttons.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, it's the same thing psychologically. You're just pointing them out that they're going to take them to the next step.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, cool. And these guys, they did a better job up here. What are your thoughts on the
just all really what I encourage you to do is use that space. You have all that real estate. Don't just let it default to the logo that you've uploaded to your Shopify site. So just go to your checkout settings and where you can upload that image, create an image there that gives information that will help the person feel more trustworthy or trusted or safe of giving you all their information. Because when you think about it, like, who hasn't been scammed online, or who hasn't tried to buy something, ended up getting, crappy stuff? And so the more that you can be open and honest with them, obviously the more sales you're going to make.
Yeah, totally. I do this on all my stores, people. Every store I run, I do this. I do this before I have traffic run into the store or anything, because they're one and done, simple ads. So anyway, I highly recommend everybody check that out. Okay. Did you have, you didn't touch on this. Was there a call out related to
there is normally, but to be totally honest, that's a Shopify Plus store. And so I can explain the concept behind it, but most people don't get to use that. Essentially, the less form fields that you have, the higher conversion. So every time you ask for more information, automatically you're going to get less conversions because more people will opt out of the process. So if you can hide stuff or close stuff off, like where it says business name optional, like, you should hide that field. Just having that one field there creates drop off. So
yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And they've shown that repeatedly in studies. It's like, for each additional field you add to a checkout form, the conversion rate drops a little bit.
Yeah. And so that's all we're pointing out here. If you have Shopify Plus, or as you grow your store to get to that point, it would be a great idea to literally hide as many of the fields as possible, that you just don't need the information. Don't ask for it.
Cool. All right. Cart page examples, good and bad.
All right. So this goes back to that principle of the hierarchy of focus. So we consider when someone is in your store and they've added something to the cart, they're no longer browsing. Now they're shopping. And at that point, you're going to do much better to get them to check out and become a customer, and then remarket to them and get them to come back 2, 3, 4 times, rather than try to give all these upsells. And what it really does is cause abandon. So the more, if you look at this, what is the next most important action here? They have literally, it looks like a Christmas tree. They got the colored icons. They have the green and black buttons. You'll see on the next example how much cleaner it is. You really don't want, so if you go
You want me
back,
to jump to it?
yeah, sure. Here you can see that the menu's been gone. If you look at this page, you know what the next most important action is. Proceed to checkout. Tells you how many items you have in your cart, that PayPal, Amazon is available at the checkout, etc. This is a very clean process. The continue shopping is a link, not a button. And so you have your primary action, your secondary action. It also got a question, call or email us. It gives them a way to get a hold of you. The join the movement to receive the 10% coupon immediately. We have a little script that we put in there, so it gives them the discount code right on the store.
Yeah, this literally will just kind of like roll around, and then they have the code.
It gives them the code, and they don't have to go search their email for it. And the people that opt in right here, they convert at 25%, so almost 4 times better than the store average by having that there, rather than saying sign up for our newsletter tips and tricks.
So what do you think of I'm going to go a little off track here. What do you think of the welcome pop-ups that you see on a lot of sites these days, where you're on the site for 10 seconds, boom, you get the pop-up, first order 10% off. It's the same logic, right? Where you enter the email, it gives you typically it'll give you, at least the way I set it up, I'll provide the discount code right there in the modal. What do you think of that?
I think that they're great for exit intent. But if they're running through your store and shopping and doing all that, really what you're doing is you're distracting them. And we've watched thousands and thousands of, recording sessions of people on your screen. And, the vast majority just click on it right away, or they're annoyed. If you think about it on a mobile phone, it takes up the majority of the screen. So it ruins the experience. It's not really just this little pop-up that comes up like on a desktop. So for sure, I would treat a desktop pop-up different than a mobile one. But we typically prefer to make it exit intent, or if your average time on site is like a minute, then have the pop-up show up like at 50 seconds. And by doing that, you'll still get the same number of opt-ins on it, rather than distracting every single person. You've given them time to find their product, navigate the site, see that they trust you. Now, when you offer them a 10% discount, they're much more likely to use it. When you offer it to them immediately, what are you doing? You're saying, oh, hey, by the way, don't leave. We're going to give you 10% for nothing, because our prices are high enough that we can do that. You know what I mean? It just doesn't.
Yeah, it does. It totally makes sense. I've never heard. It seems like a no-brainer. I've never heard somebody suggest, though, like, look at your average session times and then try to time out the pop-up if you're going to have one based on your session time. So that's interesting. And I can see, this goes back to what I think we were talking about earlier, where to me, this just feels so busy.
Yeah, it's a lot of cognitive load. And now what are they doing? Are they thinking like, oh, okay, did I get the right hat? Do I not want this one? Do I want another one? It's just, we think that this is a very bad experience. And obviously we test everything. And so we know that this hurts. So.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing too, in the kind of this print on demand space where, if you get your product market fit, like you find a winning product and it takes off, you can get away with a lot of this stuff. It becomes a little bit forgiving when you have a winning product, because it like literally builds its own momentum and sells itself. But that doesn't mean that this is necessarily optimized, right? That this is optimal, that you're getting as many conversions as you could have if you didn't tweak this and clean it up a little bit. Anyway, to me, this just feels it's super busy. Plus, you're right. Like, you want them, especially when you're in the cold acquisition game, and you're not selling. When you're in the cold acquisition game and you're not in like supplements or beauty or something like that, like when they land here, you're wanting to get them to check out as quickly as you can.
Yeah. And if you're selling a quality product, they're going to come back and buy more from you. So we track the data all the way from the beginning to the end. And what you'll find is, yes, the apps, a lot of apps that are in cart will increase your average order value. But what ends up happening is they reduce your conversion. So you're actually making less sales, even though your average order value is going up. So in your head, you're thinking like, oh, I'm making more per sale. It makes it easier to do it. But you're actually losing money because your conversion rate has went down. You would much rather have more customers and get those customers come back over and over. That's way more profitable than that extra $2 or $3 that you're getting by like throwing all this information at them in the cart.
Yeah, it kind of assumes that you have a good solid back end worked out, and you'll
Yeah,
definitely be able to bring them back
right.
for repeat purchases.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, you're not going to make it in e-commerce anymore if you don't get your back end dialed. It's just too competitive. There's too many people doing that. The people who actually can scale and win are the ones that have got the back end done so that they can make less money on the front end or break even because they can acquire more customers.
Well, yeah, it's just that cold acquisition game is getting tougher and tougher to play.
Yeah.
Thankfully, TikTok came along and saved us from the tyranny of Facebook. But I'm hearing you that you have to have that back end really dialed in, if you want to continue to stay competitive in this space. All right, clarity trumps persuasion.
All right, so here, this is a very good example of a very high converting cart. Again, remember when we said like you Homer Simpson it, literally saying an item was added to your cart helps, because you'll see a lot of themes are made by developers, and developers aren't really conversion specialists. A theme is really designed to be an online store catalog. Here's my products. You get to look through them and find what you like and buy it. By going through and optimizing the theme with conversion principles, then you're going to hit higher conversions. And when we say to Homer Simpson it, like literally just being super clear about things will help make more sales. There's a lot of themes where when you add the item to the cart, like you see it pop up and then it goes away and you're still on the same page and you're like, oh, did it add it or did it not add it? Or, what's the next step? By doing this, by having the side slide cart, these convert the highest. You can proceed to checkout from this point, or you can continue shopping. And you want the reason why the arrow is there for the remove button. When you watch a lot of videos, you'll see a lot of people will add multiple items to their cart, and then they'll go through their cart and price compare and remove things and then continue the shopping process. So for us, we know that giving them that button there to remove it and making it really clear is a really good way to optimize the cart. And then they can, and literally again, also giving them a crystal clear way to continue shopping.
Yeah. So I have a question about the slide out, right? So I've kind of seen this go both ways, and where I've seen the slide out convert better, and then I've seen the standard kind of cart page convert better. And I'm just throwing darts here, but to me, it kind of seems like it comes down to the demographic that's buying. It seems
100%.
like the older generation is going more for like they're on desktop. That add to cart page makes sense to them. Seems like the younger you go and the more checkouts are occurring on the mobile device, the more the slide out. Where I don't know, I'm kind of guessing there.
No, I 100% agree with you. For sure, we see that the higher age demographic that check out on a desktop for sure are a better audience. So you can know your numbers. You should optimize your mobile experience different than your desktop. It's two different experiences. So another way to know if your numbers are good is your desktop should convert twice as high as your mobile does. So if you have a 2.5% conversion on your mobile experience, you should be converting at 5% on desktop. Or typically, I would recommend you go into Browser Stack, look at the devices, and figure out what's not displaying right. That's a pretty good rule of thumb.
Is that largely just because you get so much more traffic?
Well, not only that, I mean, on desktop, you can display stuff a lot different and you have a lot more freedom to show more stuff. So it should convert higher.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense too. I didn't really think about that. And I noticed you kind of got you got the icons back out here.
Yep, for
Is
sure.
that old?
Those matter. Like, I can't really say. Like, we have to make assumptions. We know that the data proves that those help, and so for us, we use them. We let the data make the decision. So, and also, I just want to take a second because this troll is definitely distracting me. I want to tell him thank you for following me around. I really appreciate it. Like, I'm happy to have that because it means that I'm touching enough people and helping enough people that I got someone that's pissed. So
Yeah. Look, I'm not sure who that is in the comments, but just eat the meat and throw out the bones, man.
yeah,
Matt's taking some time to.
the funny thing is, he's done this to me several times, and I posted the testimonial from the guy that, like, the site that we helped. So I see everybody else is worried about it. I'm not worried about it. I'm glad that he feels that he has to spend his time doing this, and it's awesome. So thank you.
Look, look. You've got tons of experience here. You've had tons of clients. You've done more. You've probably forgotten more about conversion rate optimization than most of the rest of us put together. I tell everybody this: e-com is constantly changing. It's incredibly complex, right? Like, for example, we were just talking about the standard cart page versus the slide out, and how the
Yeah.
results change based on the demographic, which is going to be based on the product, which is going to be based on the traffic platform you're running ads to. I mean, there are just so many variables. It always comes down to eating the meat and throwing out the bones. You take what you think is going to work, test it, and try it for yourself. And if it works, keep it. And if it doesn't, just move on. There's nothing wrong with that. You're dropping free bombs here.
I'm here.
I
I'm
don't
here
get
to help people. I'm literally here to help people. I'm not trying to sell something. So
anyway, man, I appreciate having you on. So, all right. I think we've about done it on this page.
yeah.
I'm trying to think through if I have any questions here. I think I'm good there. Product page examples. Let's do it.
Yeah, here you go. So back when I was working for Organifi, this is where this troll came from. So these are things that worked very well. So their original supplement facts was a picture of the side of the bottle, and you couldn't read it even when it was zoomed in on. And what we realized with the heat maps was about 70% of the people were clicking there. So clicking on that and not having usable information was obviously hurting the conversions. And so there's a app that you can go online and create nutrition labels. And by doing that, when they did it, it literally increased their conversion of their product page more than 30%. So earlier when we were talking about that 10% increase, just changing the nutrition label thumbnail added 30% to their product page add to cart.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense because the type of person that's going to buy a product like this is going to be very ingredient conscious, let's say.
Yes, 100%. And any type of, we've worked with several large supplement brands. Any time that you're going to ingest something, there's education that's required. And so things on your site are definitely going to have to center around that education so that people feel comfortable with what they're putting in their body. The other thing is I still use their product to this day. It's great. They have amazing number of reviews. So if you have a lot of reviews, you want them. You don't have to have 1,500. Amazon has done tons of studies, and at 200 reviews, it drops the traffic conversion 50%. So if it takes 100 visitors to make a sale, once you have 200 reviews, it will only take 50 visitors to make a sale. So it literally doubles your conversion.
Oh, interesting.
Once you have 200 plus reviews. They found that like above that doesn't really matter, and below it doesn't really make.
And I assume they have to be good reviews.
But yeah, I mean, if you're only pushing 5 stars, so that's actually a really good thing that you say that. people think that they should only show their good reviews. That's not true. The bigger you are, the more you should show all of it. You just need to answer them. If all you do is show your good reviews, people don't believe it. So if you look at the data, the most clicked on reviews are 2-star and below. So the people are, it doesn't mean that they're not buying. It means, okay, this is a company, they're serving an audience. Did they mess up? This guy thinks so. How did they handle it? So they don't expect you to be perfect. They just expect you to actually take care of the problem. So
Yeah,
reviews are great. And then obviously the other arrow is for the testimonial up above. Having social proof like that helps people say, hey, okay, I'm not the first one, or I'm not trying this out.
And so let me ask real quick, because whoops, where am I at? So what I'm seeing here, you got the testimonial, then you've got the title of the product kind of in caps. You've got the little review snippet. I see you're taking your cues from Amazon here, the color, the stars. I mean, it's all the same
you're
style.
basically borrowing the social proof of everybody understands that the Amazon color stars are yellow. And so whether they do that or not, they automatically think good customer experience.
Yeah, there's like a psychological kind of association happening here. Then you've got the product price, the compare at, you've got the 3 USPs. Does all this stack up pretty much the same way on mobile?
Yep. And then the other arrow is just the one-time purchase. If you have a recurring product, you don't want it to auto check the subscribe. They had that, and about 30% of their customer service inquiries were because people were on subscription and they didn't know it and didn't want it. And then also at the point when we were helping them, their upsell was buy more of the same, which is great for supplements, but it's not great to buy more of the same and then send out auto subscribe 30 days later, because they're not going to be ready for a subscription. And so by moving that to the one-time purchase and then setting up the flows to go out and contact them right when their containers when they're about 2 weeks away from finishing, based off the number of containers they bought, their subscriptions jumped up.
So that makes sense. So on mobile, sorry, I'm kind of stuck here on the mobile thing.
No.
So on mobile, like I assume that the first thing at the top though is probably the product images, and then you start scrolling down on mobile, and then you hit the where does the testimonial fit?
It's above. Obviously, it's still above the title. So you're going to see the thumbnails, and then
I see.
away. You're going to see the product, the thumbnails underneath it, and it'd be. I definitely recommend this product for anyone who wants to boost their immune system. Yeah.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense to me. And do you use sticky add to cart or anything like that on
we definitely test it. So some sites it works better, and some sites it does not. Like it's really hard. You can't say that one thing is going to work for everybody. Again, it goes back to, like you said, certain demographics convert way better on desktop. Well, certain products need education. Certain products are like impulse buys. So it's really you have to, when you're thinking about the layout of your store, who your demographic is and what the niche is. For the ShineOn jewelry, if you think about it, like those are impulse purchases. And so the cleaner, the more succinct the product page is, the better conversions you're going to get. Definitely on impulse buys, something like this where it's emotional, like you've tugged their emotions enough to get them to click the ad. Now they get to the product page. What you really got to think of that matters the most is a really good high quality image and a description that evokes emotion. You do those two things on your guys' type of product, you're going to see a higher conversion rate. Not necessarily all these extra upsells, order bumps, and all that other stuff, because for you, like you've got them in an emotional state. The last thing that you want to do is now start creating logic and a bunch of other stuff that would get them to go, oh, well, do I really need this? Or Ta, ta, ta.
Yeah, no, I'm like when you compare, if you think of a jewelry item like what we sell versus basically a supplement, a drink supplement like this, I've got to think that a lot of people that land here, they're probably going to want to be a little bit more informed about what this product is, and I think that's probably why when you found that the when you got the nutrition information on here where they could read it, it increased conversions. It's
Yeah.
they're conscious of the ingredients, but when you take a jewelry item where they're the what hooked them in the first place was the emotional impact of probably the phrase on the jewelry piece. When they land on the site, you just need to keep that emotional impact rolling. You don't want to distract them with a bunch of other stuff. The very first product I scaled to $1 million, I did it with ShineOn product to $1 million. I did it with a free Shopify theme. I used Brooklyn's theme. I had hardly any apps on it. And this was back in like 2019 or something, when like spammy drop shipping sites were like the norm. Like you were getting you were getting the little side the wheelio, and you're getting countdown timers and all this stuff. I had none of that. It was literally you just land on the site, it loaded super quick because I didn't have any of that stuff, and my product description was short, and I just had a giant freaking add to cart button with a lot of the tips and tricks I picked up from BGS, and I did fine. I can't remember what my conversion rate was, but it was north of 10%.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, when you have a winner, it's a winner. And the cool thing is, once you get a few of those, you'll start to understand like what speaks to your audience or what works.
Right.
And then don't try to go copy everybody else. Like that's the one thing that we see a lot of times is people will see a big site doing something and then they think like, oh, well, it's working for them, it's going to work for me. They have a different audience. They may have, they may own their traffic. They may literally have a 2 million person email list or a celebrity that endorses or all these other things. Like you can't just go copy another site that's doing big numbers and think that that's going to work for you. Going back to that principle that clarity trumps persuasion, like trying to be cute and fancy and all this other stuff, 9 times out of 10 is going to hurt your conversions, not help it. The clearer, the simpler, you'll see that those are the sites that will win more consistently over time. Just because someone hits a home run with one idea doesn't mean that that idea works for every product, for every audience, for every site.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Look, the way you should probably think about it is just about every time you add something to your site, you risk it being an objection in some form, even if it's kind of subconscious. I mean, adding an extra image to something could just, like you said, increase cognitive load enough to where the person starts to feel some kind of resistance.
Yeah. So we know if you add too many thumbnails, even in your product thumbnails, the more that you add, that actually lowers your conversion. We call it click that. So when people are clicking through all the different thumbnails, psychologically, you've offered them like 8 thumbnails. So they're like, okay, there must be something in each of these that's highlighting something. And so they're looking around trying to find out the differences or what's going on. And what they're doing is it's cognitive load. They're literally tiring their brain and their eyes out, and they don't go as far in the process. If you have a lifestyle shot, something that shows like the material, the length of the chain, etc., and the lifestyle shot, like that's really all you need. You should ask yourself, does this thumbnail add value that the other thumbnails don't? And if it doesn't, then you shouldn't have it. There's zero reason to have 5 lifestyle shots. It's literally going to hurt your conversions, not help them.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Plus, it makes the page load slower, depending on how you have that set up. So
yeah, if you're very succinct in what you share, people will look at it. Okay, that provides value. Cool. Okay, this is what it looks like on someone. Now I can imagine what it would look like on me or my husband or my girlfriend or whatever. Then they can make their decision. But the more thumbnails that you put in there, you're literally creating click that.
Hey, I'm going to apologize. I'm going to get you going on this next slide. I got to step away. My dog's, I don't know what's going on over here. I'm kind of distracted by it.
All right, cool. Yeah, so here, what we're talking about is laying it out how a shopper buys. And so if you're looking at this particular example, it's apparel. People literally will select what they're going to wear first. Do I want a t-shirt? Do I want a hoodie? Do I want a long sleeve? Then the color, then the size, and then the quantity. And so most Shopify themes were, back when we started doing this, were not set up in the order. We're like, oh, I wonder if we change this to be the order of how someone actually shops, will that increase conversions? Well, we know that it does. These guys literally had a fourth quarter where they converted over 10% for the entire fourth quarter. So thinking through how a person buys and entering the conversation in their head, just like direct response. Basically what we did is we started looking at direct response marketers and what they were doing and tried to bring that into the e-commerce space and like try to get in that process of like, oh, what's the next thing they're going to think about? Well, you don't go, oh, I found the design, now I want this, da 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 da. They found the design, now they know the next thing is what shirt do they want it on, what color, then the size. And then you'll also see the way I have the arrow at the ready to ship. Again, that's giving people information that they're already thinking about. Amazon has pretty much conditioned everybody, like it's going to ship right away or in 48 hours or however long, like they've made shipping time a question that people ask. And so if you have the ability to ship right away, or even if it ships in 48 hours, or if you know what your lead time is, putting that there actually increases conversions. And it's super simple. All you do it with is a tag. So if you know that this product can ship in 48 hours, you'll literally go add a tag to that product that will add this badge that will,
you guys have that 3 times. You have it right here, you have it down here, and then you've got it again in this this icon here.
Yeah. So actually, okay, I'm gonna share with you another thing. This is damaging admission. We used to think when we found a winner, cool, now let's go find the next thing on the page that works. And what we realized was a winner is a winner, and not everybody goes through the website the same way. And so what really matters is how many other places can you put that winning element on the page that will increase conversions. And so by adding it another time, we knew that then the page conversions went up again. And then by adding it in another spot, the page conversions went up again. Once we hit the diminishing return there,
Wow.
you get a lot more wins by going, okay, this one, let's put it somewhere else on the page. Let's put it somewhere else. We had 3 wins in a row that way. Instead of then testing for another month to find another win, each time we've made this page work better. Now when we're testing, we have a lot more freedom because we've already found 3 wins in a row.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's really, and I wish I thought of that. It wasn't. It was one of our ROs, Casey. He literally had a size comparison chart. And when people clicked on the size comparison chart in the thumbnail, the page converted much, much better. The people that clicked that thumbnail converted way higher. So he's like, oh, well, why don't I put the product comparison chart in the description? And he put it in there and the page converted even higher. He's like, oh, we're on to something here. Let me put it down at the bottom. And then you put it at the bottom, the page converted higher again. And we're like, wow, like this is really silly. We always thought like, oh, we found the win. Now let's go find something else that's broken. But you can add that winning element to multiple places on the page, and the page will keep doing better and better because not everybody browses the site the same way.
That's freaking fascinating, man.
Yeah, that's probably honestly, that one tip is probably the easiest thing to implement that anyone can do. When they find something that's working, figure out more places to put that.
Yeah, that's why. It's something else that's interesting just about the ready to ship bit is you talked about how Amazon's primed everybody for like fast shipping, but you also forget that all the supply chain issues we just went through. in 2020. And I know now, so my wife and I, we've done a fair amount of furniture shopping in the house recently, and stuff is back ordered like
Yeah.
month. It's
Month.
crazy.
Yeah.
And they're starting to put ready to ship on products that can go out the door because it's a differentiator.
Yeah.
Not now, just for everybody listening, I don't know that that would work for one of our jewelry products because they're not faced with the same supply chain issues. But test it for yourself and follow the results.
But you got to remember, like, it doesn't matter if they're not face. How many people shop last minute for a gift item? I think that is I think that would be
Good
one of the
point.
very first things that I would start testing on your product pages, is letting them know how quickly they're going to get the product.
Fascinating.
I think that you're going to increase your conversions by adding languaging or badges or whatever that let them know how quick they're going to get it.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I know our out of the box product page. At least I know it used to have language in there around that. I don't know what it has now because we're kind of constantly testing that one on the side. So I
It's
have a
silly. Like
question.
we do it too. Like we go back and look at some of the sites that we've been on for 2 years and things that were winning 2 years ago. We go back now and like we've literally it's missing, and we're like, oh yeah, like we get banner blindness on stuff. We're not perfect. We're human, just like everybody else is. And
How often? Sorry, how often too does like one of the things I've seen, because I did the CRO for ShineOn for at least a year, and we were using a kind of an agency to do some of that. And one of the things I noticed is it almost seemed like seasonality impacted what converted well. And
it
by the
does.
way, it
It does.
wasn't like the conversion elements were seasonal in nature. You'd never think it would have any connection,
No.
but it seemed like it was working great in March, and then May rolls around and suddenly it's not giving us the same lift.
Right. So I can explain what it is. It's actually a banner blindness. It's the way the brain works. So when you find something that's working, what does everybody else do? They all start doing it, right? So then all of a sudden it's no longer near as noticeable because you're used to seeing it. And so now your brain's always looking for survival, what's going to kill me, or what can I procreate with. And so it's going to weight the negative 6 times more than the good. But as soon as you see something over and over, it automatically throws it into your subconscious. And then that way you're not using your computing to deal with it. So the more standard that something becomes, the less it works, because now your brain is used to seeing it. It just kind of ignores it.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. There were a few changes that we had made that I don't know that they were necessarily like that where they were everywhere. It made me wonder if I get what you're saying. That resonates with me. It makes sense. But there were a few of these where I'm like, just it just made no sense to me that it stopped because it wasn't like it was something
Right.
obvious.
Yeah.
And the only again, I'm throwing a dart here. It just made me wonder if the difference between demographics of who is buying in April versus who buys in May just changed, right?
100% could be that. 100%. Yeah.
It's just wild. So I have a question for you here. Um, I notice you have the one checkbox kind of order bump here. Do you
Yeah.
see more conversion, like a higher conversion rate with kind of one click checkbox bump
Yes.
versus?
This is our app. The reason why it works here is because they're still browsing. They're not in the cart. So you're actually adding a very congruent product here that they don't have to then go look at it to figure it out. What's funny is it's like, you see sites, they're selling a dress, and then all of a sudden they try to upsell a pair of shoes. Well, can the lady actually buy the shoes without leaving the cart, going and looking at the shoes, making sure that she likes them, and look at the different angles or whatever, all of that stuff. So now instead of buying the dress, now she's like, oh, do I want the shoes or do I want the dress or do I want both? I'm not sure. I'll come back later. And so what they did is they've actually hurt their conversions. This is what we call just the AOV bump. And literally they can make a decision. Do I want these decals or not? And it doesn't get them to exit the cart. Once they're in the cart, they don't see anything else. We just want them to check out.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Plus the price. So it's a no-brainer product. It's congruent with kind of your hero product here.
Yeah.
And it's $5.
Yeah. So we, on our platform that we built up in Vancouver, that's where this idea came from. We had it on the checkout page, because we had a custom site. We could do whatever we wanted. It was add a 4-pack of stickers of the same design of the t-shirt that you bought. And we had over a 35% take rate, on a $10 pack of stickers that cost us $1 to make. It's about 25 cents a sticker. So we were adding $9 in profit to 35% plus of our orders by adding, 4 stickers for $10.
And so where would you add priority processing?
Right there. That's where we do it.
So it's one or the other. You don't do
Yeah. No, you don't.
stack them?
No. Right. Exactly. This is the only spot that we actually think, adds average order value without reducing conversions. And we know that the people that that click this button convert at typically about 3 times the site average. So if you get this product right, these people don't abandon cart.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So the takeaway that I just kind of heard, without you saying it, is all your big AOV stuff you're trying to do it post purchase.
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
Or on your thank you page. Like, that's another good spot. You've already got them as a customer. You'll be able to do that. Definitely make offers to them on the thank you page too.
Yeah, that makes a
Not in
lot
the
of
cart
sense.
and the checkout.
All right, category examples.
All right. So this will be a really fast one. If you look, it says showing 1 through 96 of 710 results.
Oh yeah.
So that's just under their new arrival category. If you think about it, how many people, especially if 80% of your people are on mobile, how many people are going to scroll through 2 images times 300 and some rows?
Yeah, that's insane.
So what you're doing, and if you have 50 selections, the people still don't want to do that. Like, they just don't have that attention span. And so by adding a really detailed filter, it boosted the conversions 300 to 500%, not 3 to 5%. It was 3 to 5 times. So essentially, instead of them having to figure out what they wanted by going through all the results, they could go, oh, I'm this size, this color, a pair of shorts. Now they're much more likely to find the product that they're interested in, rather than just scrolling and getting caught up, down some rabbit hole and then leaving before buying. So jewelry lends itself very, very, very much to a filter. We've done a lot of optimization for a really good friend of mine, Devin Davis, who owns a jewelry store. And the filter system matters a lot. They want to know the length of the chain, the type of the metal, different things. When they can sort through that, you could even have like the different niches: mothers, fathers, children,
yeah, that's where my mind went.
Daughter, etc. To get to, you want them to land on the product that most speaks to them. And all of your category page is a filter. If you look at it for anything other than that, it's not meant to sell. It's not meant to display. It's not meant to do any of that stuff. It's literally a filter so that when they land on the product page, it's really close to what they were looking for. And when you have a good filter and people use it, it's a huge, huge conversion boost. I would say the things that will help your conversion more than anything will be a filter and a search. And we'll talk about the search when we get to the homepage next.
Okay.
All right.
Here?
Yeah. This is a great category page. If you think about it, they're actually asking you, how do you want to shop? They're not forcing you to go through the page the way that you've designed it. So you can do it by categories, or you can do it by the items that you're looking to buy. And by them giving that particular selection, what are they doing? They're literally serving the customer what the customer wants, instead of them saying, hey, here's what I have for sale. And so this is literally my favorite. This is my favorite category page of all time, because they're giving them both options.
Then I'm on to something because I study everything Piper Lou does.
Good, good. Yep. And then also the search bar, if you look, the search bar, the highest that we've ever got people to use that on this site is about 7%. But there's been months where that 7% accounted for 30% of the site's revenue. So the people that use
Wow.
your search typically convert more than twice, and the value of those people is about 3 times the average site. So when people can find what they're looking for, that literally gives them the ability to get what they want without having to be distracted.
I mean, it makes sense, right? It's, this goes back to that putting the nutrition label image or whatever. It's just, you just got to get inside the customer's mind and
Yeah.
put yourself in their shoes and kind of figure out
Yeah,
what
most
they want.
the problem with most store owners is I have 80 products, so that means they have 80 options to buy from me. I want to show you all 80 in the attempt that now you'll buy one of my products. And what that does is it literally turns the buyer off. It doesn't get them excited. And so really what you want them to do is say, if you have 80, you want them to be able to search it or to be able to filter down to find what they're looking for and look at the 4 or 5 that talk to them, not force them to go through 80 to find the 2 or 3 things that they would actually buy.
Yeah, to me that it makes a lot of sense. This is just logic. It feels like.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but again, when you're trying to make a sale and you need that to feed your family, logic goes out and you make emotional decisions and you think like,
That's
oh, if I
true.
give them more options, that's a higher chance that they'll buy from me. When really it's the opposite. Being able to pare down what you show them and have it be more congruent with what they want will actually help your conversions.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right, homepage examples.
Again, I think that their page doesn't look like this now, but the principles that we're talking about are very simple here. They're not in love with their logo. It doesn't like push things down on the page. It's very simple. So they have what we call a main menu. Those are your money making links. You shouldn't have a whole bunch of buttons up across the top that don't make you money. So the on the jewelry site, it would be very good to have, like, if you have 3 different niches that you service, that you would have the 3 niches there. And then it would take you to a category page where it would filter out by material or chain or whatever. And then they're going to land by the 3rd click. They're going to, one, I'm looking for something for my daughter. They'll take it to the daughter products. They can, okay, she's like 6 to 12 years old, or she's 12 to 18 years old or whatever. And gold or silver. And then now they're looking at the 3 or 4 items that you have for that person. That guy is 300 to 500% more likely to convert than someone who clicked on an image on your home page that took them to a jewelry category that
Yeah.
wasn't congruent. So that is the way that your main menu should be done. The hero image, what I'm showing here is the hero image doesn't take up the entire page. You can see that there's more stuff down below it. It's called a false bottom. So when your hero image takes up your whole page, more than 50% of your people will never scroll. So you think that all that information that you have down below there is helping you. 50% of your audience will never see it. 50% of people never scroll. By adding this where your hero image doesn't take up the whole page, you can actually increase it to now 75% of your people will scroll. So another 25% of people will realize that there's more stuff on your home page by not having your hero image take up the whole spot.
That is, I never would have thought of that, but that totally makes sense. And that is, we always talk about above the fold,
Mm-hmm.
and there are a ton of apps out there that will help you create like a beautiful above the fold section. But I don't think any of them have this kind of false bottom.
Right.
Like
You don't want
that's,
a
that's
false bottom is when your hero image takes up the whole page and it looks like that's all that's there. They just go, oh, okay. They look for what they're doing. By doing that, like, it's obvious there's more below. So you'll scroll to look, and that creates 25% more. So 50% that weren't scrolling, and now half of them do.
That's fascinating. What's going
All right.
on here?
Here, again, Anson, we have worked with them now for 6-7 years. Amazing company, phenomenal product. Like, I recommend it to everybody. But here, I'm just pointing out they're using social proof. The fact that they've been online since 2009, that matters. Like, a lot of people have been scammed. The fact that, I mean, if you go to their site now, it's like 32,000 or 34,000 5-star reviews. That's meaningful. So people obviously are going to trust the site. The mix and match, one size fits all. The see how link, when someone clicks that link, they convert at double the site average. So if your jewelry has like a sliding chain, or you have some sort of a GIF that explains something about the jewelry, this would be a really good way to implement that. Essentially, I don't really know jewelry super well, but like,
Well, we're very, so, it's print on demand, right? But
yeah.
I would say, I bet you it's like 95% plus of all the sales are direct on the product page. It's
Yeah,
cold acquisition from the product page, and the return customer rate. There are some stores that will get it up to like 10% plus, but most stores are going to be pretty low, because you're searching for a winning product, and then you're juicing everything you can out of the product, and then you're trying to find another one.
I do think the people, I think I've definitely seen some people in your audience have talked about having a niche that's like more year round, different things, and getting broader or thinking outside the box rather than just that particular relationship. The people that don't just copy what's working, that try other things, you're going to find stuff like this where if there's a question that they have, so the reason why someone comes to your site and they leave is, one, they don't trust you, or they have unanswered questions, right? So if you can figure out what their question is and answer it, then you're going to make more sales. And so typically what we do, like, we'll go through the customer service log, and like, people will ask all kinds of questions. So you're going to see trends or lots of the same questions. That means that you're not answering it very clear on your site. You go through your site and start answering that question where they're going to have it. You're going to see that even if you're selling the exact same thing that 80 other people are, you're going to sell more because you're answering the question in the customer's mind, rather than them leaving and then finding someone else who did it better.
Yeah, a prime example of this, when we, like Christmas especially, is we approach a shipping cutoffs, I will, on my product pages, I'll put 3 days left to order for guaranteed Christmas delivery, 2 days left, 1 day left. And then I'll put last day. And then after the last day, I'll put, it may not get there by Christmas, but the shipping's on us, right? But I'm constantly trying to answer that, because I know that if somebody's right there and they know they're at the deadline, what is probably going to make the difference between a purchase and not is whether or not they'll have it on Christmas.
Yeah.
Right. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. 100%.
So, hey, I've got some questions here real quick before we move to wrap up. So I have, let's say, I thought I had 3. So one question was, no, I do have 3. Okay, here we go. So in the presentation here, I noticed that we started at what was essentially the checkout, and then we went to the product page, and then the home page. And I think I've heard you say before that when you're doing your conversion rate optimization, you always kind of start at the bottom of the funnel and work your way to the top. So what's going on there?
Okay, so if you think about it, if you make your product page convert better, but your cart sucks, are you actually going to realize all the benefits of the product page optimization? No, you're going to get more people to add to cart, but you're still losing a higher percentage of those. So I always say that your website is your conversation with your customer. And so the cleaner that conversation is, the better. If where the money the transaction happens is on the checkout. Let's fix the checkout so that it converts as high as possible, right? And then that way you're going to see extra sales right away, more money. And then when you fix your cart, you're going to get more money. And then when you fix your product page, you'll get even more money. But if your checkout's broken, you fix your cart page or your product page and your home page, the checkout's still broken. So you're not seeing the max amount of revenue. So we start at the back end, which is the quickest way to the money, and then work forward. And then every process works better and you're generating more revenue.
Yeah, I like that. So essentially what I'm hearing you say is the checkout is kind of like your highest leverage page in the funnel. And
100%.
so if you're going to do CRO anywhere, you want to start with that checkout page and then work your way backwards. So checkout, cart, product, and then I'm guessing homepage at the very end. So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So the next question I have for you is this. Many of the people listening, they don't have tons of traffic. Like they can't really do an A/B split right now, right? Sure. Maybe when we're in Q4 and they're riding the winter, they can start to do some A/B splits, but right now they can't. So what do you recommend somebody that's essentially setting up a new store and they want to get off on the right foot here, but they don't have data to do their testing? Like, how would you recommend they set up the store?
Well, I mean, yeah, I definitely didn't come here to sell. We do a 5-day challenge where you can learn how to do that. Obviously, at the end of that challenge, like we want you to join our group or, hire us or whatever to help you out. But we give away tons of free information. You can go to our blog, you can go different areas and find that information. What I would really say is, a really good way to do it is it's called user testing. And so you can essentially set your product up, find someone, a friend who, if you're selling to dads that buy stuff for their daughter, we all know dads. So say, go ask that dad, say, hey, will you come to my site? And I want you to find the product that you would buy for your daughter and add that to your cart, and tell me how easy it was, how hard it was, what seemed different or not congruent. There's a service called Try My UI where you can pay them like $60-$70 and they'll have someone go through it, record your screen. We're actually literally dropping a product, teaching people how to do that. Because again, exactly like what you said, if you don't have 1,000 visitors a day and you're trying to do a checkout test where only 100 people are going to see that a month, it's really difficult to do a test. So what I would say then is find someone that's teaching best practices. And then once you have some volume, you can then go in and do that. But user testing for us, it doesn't matter if we have sites. We have sites that get 7 million visitors a month. We have sites that get 7,000 visitors a month. We have one that they sell welding tables. It's a $3,000 product. They don't get thousands of visitors. So how do you do a split test? We don't. We test it. We put an element on the page and we run a user test and see if it's clear, if it confuses the customer or whatever. So for $100, we've run a test and we watch it and get insight from that all the time. So
it sounds like it's some blend of like, you have to make assumptions and implement best practices, but then like you're trying to get as much like information from user experience as you can.
Yeah, for sure. Just stop viewing your site as the site owner as I have 100 products, or I have 80 or I have 10 products and I want that customer to see all 10. That's not what you want. You want the customer to see what they're looking for. So if you can look at your site as a buyer instead of the owner, you will look at your site different and you will get rid of stuff and you will move stuff around based off of the shopping experience rather than you being in your head thinking that if I don't sell this guy, I'm not going to make any money. That desperation or that owner mentality is in your site, whether you realize it or not. The moment that you can look at your site from a buyer's perspective, it will change how you optimize your site.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, I have another question. This is not one of my three. Okay, it's like a
Okay.
sub question. Have you heard of User Bob?
I haven't.
So User Bob, it's this website. It's been around for years. It looks like it was built in the 90s, but for like $20, you'll get 20 people that can come to your website and they'll record like a Loom video of what they like. You get to ask one question, and then it sends a question to 20, and you provide the website. It sends it out to like 20 people, and literally for like $20, they go to your website and they'll answer the question.
Yeah, I would caution against that. The reason why I say that is, who cares what a guy that does that for a profession says, because they're biased. You want someone that's never visited your site. You want it to be your demographic. Like if I'm selling to a dad that's buying jewelry for his daughter or for his wife, and some lady comes to my site and
Yeah,
gives
you
me
want
all of her input, is that going to confuse me, or is it going to give me a whole bunch of things that I'm now trying to like clutter my site with to make it work? So you would be better off running or going on Craigslist and finding people in your demographic and paying them $5 to go through your site than you would something like that. I think you're gonna like overload yourself with stuff that's not relevant.
Yeah, no, that actually makes a lot of sense because I think they send them out to you get to specify demographics and stuff, but at the end of the day, I mean it's still people reviewing, like doing these videos for $1 a piece.
Yeah, yeah,
There's something weird going on.
yeah. You think about how many sites can they actually review and
Right.
actually make money doing it. Yeah, the ones that we use, the other one, and we're super happy with it. We built an entire course because it's how we still find wins all the time. Like I said, like we're not perfect. We make mistakes. We get banner blindness. We're on these sites every day for years, having new people go through it and us watch them do that constantly points out things to us that we didn't see because we don't see it anymore.
Yeah, it makes sense. I like the way you suggested to do it. It's real world user testing, basically.
No, no.
All right. So last question, then we'll move to wrap up here. So somebody in the group, I don't know who it was, if it's Facebook user here. They said, what would you say is the greatest error you've seen a news store do that we might want to avoid?
Yeah, I think again, it's that too much information, too many products, not being able to filter it down. For sure. So if like all you get from this entire presentation is add the text to your form fields, that will help your checkout. Stop trying to add order bumps in the cart. On your product page, answer the question in their mind. How long is it going to take? Give them what they need. Don't just try to sell them everything you have. And then filter things down so that they land on what they're looking for. They don't have to scroll through. So putting too much stuff actually creates loss of conversion. We call it the paradox of choice. If you have it, we see it tons on print on demand. They go, oh, well, we have 13 options for this t-shirt. We're going to give them all 13 options. We'll make more sales. Not true. Like the site that has 13 options will literally make about a third of the sales of the site that has 2 to 3. So if there's a reason why Shield has 2 or 3 colors. So if you're going to go buy ice cream and I say, we have chocolate or vanilla, how fast can you decide? Like that. It's done, right? But if you're going to Baskin Robbins, they have 32 flavors. How long does it take you to decide? Well, when the average person's on your site a minute or less, do you want them to be able to make decisions quick and move through your site? Or do you literally want to create a minute worth of scrolling on your homepage or on your filter or your product category page because you don't have a filter, you've already got rid of 80% of your people that may have bought from you because they've wasted that minute that they had on your site looking for something and never found it. So trying to be a flea market and be all things to everybody will 100% hurt your conversions.
Yeah, it to me that makes a lot of sense. And by the way, it completely aligns with my experience too. Like I found that especially in this print on demand game where you are typically you're looking for winners, you surf the winner, you look for
Yeah,
new winner.
100%.
Some people are building brands. I'm not. I think you should be building a brand, trying to find evergreen products, increase repeat purchase rate. But I also know my audience, and a lot of them are just surfing from one winner to the other. And typically, what I found is, once I got my winner dialed in, I start going through my site. I simplify it. I eliminate leaks. Like I don't even want my logo to be clickable.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like they land on a product page. I want them to buy. That's all I want them to do.
Yeah, with that mentality, almost like a one-page funnel works great if you're basically creating that with your site, which you can. Really, that's always going to convert higher than a store. What I would find is if you have like 2 or 3 winners, what is the commonality between those 2 or 3 winners? And then what other type of products besides jewelry could you offer? Because that's when you can get repeat purchases. If all you offer is jewelry, yeah, maybe they're not going to come by. They're not going to come back and buy that same piece for their daughter a year later because she's already got one. So no, that's not going to be like what you're saying. If that's the mentality that you have, your store's never going to perform like someone that says, oh, okay, well, I sell to a lot of dads. Well, what else do dads want? Like cool wallets or cool belts, or you know what I mean? There's some other things that you can have, even that's not your main hero image or your main product, but in the filters, that guy, if that's who's coming to your site and buying, there's a lot of other things that you can sell them.
Kirsta all the time is running like a $60-$70 hero product, but he's got a $200 or $300 necklace in his store. It's the our sellers have access to it. It's Everlasting Love is what I think it's called. It's like a solid gold item, and he finds that he can't run direct traffic to it. But having it on the store, he says a lot of people hit and then they'll search around and they find it and they'll buy it. Yeah. So anyways, it's making sense. So Matt, there are a bunch of people here that said that they want to take your challenge, but just also in a broader sense, how can people learn more about you, more about conversion rate optimization, build, grow, scale, join the challenge? Where do they go?
Yeah, so they could just go to buildgrowscale.com. We're literally, hopefully we'll have a new website up. It's kind of that old story of, the roofers, roof leaks, and the drywall's not done.
Yeah.
We've been so busy working on everybody else's that we haven't updated ours in quite a while, but we're actually right in the process of doing that right now. I did send, I'm not prepared to try to sell something. I gave a link to your lady that she can drop in.
Robin.
To Robin. Yeah. Just so right there is a checklist that will literally go through all the different pages on the store that have optimization principles. The challenge is behind that, but you can get the checklist and then leave, and that's free. And you could literally go through that checklist and work through your store at your own pace. Or you can join the challenge. I think it's $17 now, and you get 5 days of training, and you can get all your questions answered from me.
Cool. I'm glad Robin put that in there. Smart thinking of her. So it's $17. It's 5 days. It's all CRO related.
Yeah. So the first day, we give you that app. We give you the AOV bump app. We teach you how to install it. What's the best practice. The second day, I basically go through the slides that I just went through with you. A little different. There's a few other ones in there. I cut some stuff out for time sake. And then the third day is all about email. So the back-end marketing. The fourth day is all about learning how to read your data in your Google Analytics. and us just sharing how we've used the data to find more wins. Like, how do we know all these wins? It's because we're going through the data and find it and work through that. And then the fifth day is we just wrap it all up and then offer that you can join our EBB group, which is like basically $0 to $5,000 a month. Like how to set up your store. Again, we don't teach anything. We don't teach anything other than like what we're teaching here. And then we have our EI, which is you need to be doing about 5,000 a month or more, and that's $6,000 a year. So.
Yeah, very cool. So buildgrowscale.com/ShineOn. There's a checklist there. And then also is the challenge linked on that page?
Yeah. So right after you, this is brand new, right after you get the checklist, we'll send it to you. And then there's a video from me saying, hey, if you want to join our challenge, you'll be able to go through this stuff with us 5 days in a row live. And it's $17.
$17. That's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, you'll get the app. You'll get the AOV Bump app for free, and it works on any Shopify site. You'll literally make $17 the first day that you put it on, or if you're making 3 to 5 sales a day, you'll make the $17 back the first day. So
yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so buildgrowscale.com/ShineOn, buildgrowscale.com/ShineOn if you're interested in that. Matt, I'm going to move to wrap up here. I want to thank you for coming on. This was awesome.
Yeah. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. So
yeah, it was good. There was a lot of chatter, a lot of people asking questions and things like that. So I know this is a subject they're interested in. For those that don't know, Matt has been posting in the group, I think once a week. Tips and stuff like that. So go search a Facebook group for Matt's name. You're going to find a bunch of other stuff he's got in a backlog here. All right, do me a favor. If you enjoy what we do, share us with your friends. Use your affiliate link. You'll get 75 cents an order that comes in through a friend that signed up through your affiliate link. And until we see you next time, go follow us in all these places. I'm not going to read them all. If you haven't signed up for ShineOn, you definitely want to go do that. ShineOn.com takes like 60 seconds to sign up, and you can get selling. I think we're one of the best entrepreneurial opportunities in the world right now, and definitely the best friggin' print-on-demand company. I mean, come on. There's almost
I honestly will second that too. I mean, I literally I'm friends with a lot of people in the e-com space, and I've been friends with Eric back in the early days. Like, you will not find someone that cares more about helping you make those sales online and that hasn't invested. Like, he literally invests in making sure that you guys feel like you're a partner. It's not like you're not out there selling stuff to make money for ShineOn. Like, he's literally trying to help you build a business. It's awesome.
Yeah, Eric is one of the more generous, selfless, other focused individuals I've probably ever met. Like, especially when it comes to ShineOn and his view as sellers, the community, the ShineOn community, the ethos of it, like at its core, really is it's Eric and kind of his heart for building this whole thing. So I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
So ShineOn.com, if you want to sign up. We've got a bunch of other social media channels now. Go check us out. Tammy's posting tons of content over there. Some of it's funny. By the way, Printful, if you're watching this, we know we know you're scoping us out because we see you copying us. It's okay, though. We love it. We love the camaraderie. It's fun. You should reach out to us so we can talk. Maybe we can come up with ideas together. It'd be awesome.
Okay. Yeah, if you have trolls and haters, you're doing something right, because your audience is big enough that you found someone that you rubbed the wrong way. So
yeah, it's all good, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
You dropped some bombs. We really appreciate it.
All right, cool.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.